Hey professionals, SoFeya Sarah Joseph here, author of Choreography of Awakening, international speaker, former Olympic figure skating coach, and founder and creator of imagintlife, a revolutionary path to mastery of self that leads towards creation of your masterpiece, the life you were born to live according to your life's blueprint. Welcome to Professionals on Air podcast, a podcast where we discuss how to walk, talk, live, and grow authentically as a professional in the 21st century. It is my intention to bring you diverse and exciting speakers and prove that no matter where we come from and what we do, there are clear laws that work through us all that we can tap into and create what we desire. And today, I have the pleasure and honor to introduce you to my amazing guest from the future, from Australia, Chrissy Symeonakis. Chrissy is one of Australia's best marketing managers, a writer, coach, and mentor who has won and been nominated for a number of prestigious awards. As the founder of the Creative Little Soul and other businesses, Chrissy serves clients all over the globe. Diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, Chrissy uses it as an opportunity to inspire those she meets with her signature get shit done attitude. And her mission is to prove that the journey to success starts and ends with belief in yourself in spite of any adversity. Welcome, Chrissy. Thank you.
Hello. Greetings from the future. Hello. It is morning.
Tell us a little bit about what you do and how did you get started?
Yeah, sure. So I have a background in journalism, public relations, and marketing. I grew up on a farm, so to migrant parents and grandparents. My family had orchards, vineyards. So from a very young age, I was forced, I say forced, to help out picking apricots and peaches. But I think looking back, that really instilled a great work ethic in me and
Mm,
helping out. I worked in the hospitality sector. I come from a family of chefs, so it was just always in my DNA, I suppose, to help out, to be involved. And then over the past 21 years, I've worked for some of the biggest companies, brands, and groups in Australia doing their marketing, specializing in email marketing. I've worked in the hospitality sector, both in Australia and in the US. And I'd say nearly 9 years ago now, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I had kind of had headaches, wasn't really feeling great, and the doctors just kept brushing it off, saying I had migraines. Almost 9 years to the date, we're really close to my diagnosis date. I woke up one morning, had a shower, and then noticed that my right vision completely was like a snowstorm. It had all been whited out. I couldn't see anything, and immediately I was taken to the hospital. They thought maybe I'd had a stroke. I'd had maybe a bleed or a tumor or something. But it turns out I was diagnosed with MS, and yeah, that kind of forced me to look at what I was doing. I was working for a company that had a really toxic workplace environment. It was
mm,
really sexist and, just was not a great place for me to be. And so I'd always kind of been a consultant, would freelance on the side for people. And then I just thought, why am I not working for myself? I can decide if I'm not feeling great, if I'm tired, I can just work from home. So yeah, Creative Little Soul was born. Just me. I had zero savings in the bank. I had a couple of weeks of holiday leave, and I just went and started and hustled. And that's nearly 9 years ago now, and I have 14 employees, and we work with people all over the world. I've a educator in the email marketing and business space, and I think for me, that really made me look at what am I doing? What is my purpose? What do I want to achieve? But for me, it was how can I help other people, particularly those who might have a chronic illness, a disability, to actually hold
Mm.
their own power and to retain their dignity, but to also be creating and be independent in business because there's this expectation that we'll have to go on disability. And, so many people that I spoke to, we all want to work, we all want to contribute, but a lot of traditional workplaces don't really afford you that luxury, which is why I'm so pro empowerment, to then go and be your own boss, to live that life that has that flexibility for you.
I so hear you. Like as you speaking, I'm just feeling so grateful.
Thank you. Me
Just
too.
feeling really, really grateful for for for, for not dealing with issues like that. And so many people just take their health and their being for granted and not even thinking about this kind of things. But then at the same time, with COVID, it's almost like everyone got disability. this
Well,
right
that's right. Yeah.
in a sense.
Um, I remember like everybody saying to me, like, "Oh, how are you coping at the moment with lockdowns and not being able to go anywhere and being so kept in?" I said, "Welcome to my world. Like, you're getting a small snippet into. I don't go anywhere because I am immune suppressed, so I have to be really careful all the time. I order
Mhm.
in my groceries. So for me and my company, we were already working from home." So we were incredibly productive. It was just kind of everybody else was catching up, which was kind of nice actually. That it wasn't an adjustment for us. We were already kind of paving that way forward.
Chrissy, what does professionalism mean to you?
It's a good question. I probably don't um, seem like it's quite interesting. So am a very, my hair's purple. I'm always the most brightly dressed person when I walk into a room. I have tattoos that have Care Bears and Disney princesses. So to some people, when I walk in, they're like, "Oh, this is a bit weird." But I don't think professionalism should be based on how you dress or what you
Mm.
wear or how you turn up. For me, I think that is an extension of my interior. So I'm a happy, bright, colorful person, and I wear that on my outside. So when I walk in, I project that to people and clients. I think professionalism is treating others as you would like to be treated. I think it is always giving your best and being your best. And I think it's always, not discounting people because you expect them to act or look a certain way as well. So, yeah, just be the best version of yourself. And I think you'll attract that from others as well.
I love what you're saying. It's wonderful for the professionals because this professionals group for professionals, and we had guests from different places around the world, and it's so cool to hear different views and you bringing in this aspect of professionalism. And we had a few weeks ago we had Anna from Slovenia, and she is trying to work she works with global audience and like having an accent, for example, and all of a sudden it's like if you have an accent it's not professional. I mean, like people have all these different ideas of what professionalism means,
Yeah.
so it's really great to hear your fresh perspective on that. Yeah, I have tattoo, I'm professional, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like when people meet me face to face, it's quite funny. Like all of my staff have different styles, and I really encourage that because we're creative agency, right? So people people come to us for those outside of the box ideas and concept. And I remember, and it happens quite often. We'll go to a client meeting, a first meeting, and they'll immediately go and want to shake hands with Claire, who works for me, because she's our senior designer. So she's a little bit more traditionally corporately dressed.
Uh-huh.
And I said, no, I'm Chrissy. And they're like, oh, and then they go, oh, that makes more sense now once they get to know me. But we always go, I bet you they're going to shake your hand, Claire. And she goes, yes. And they do. But that's okay. Like we are about changing the traditional norms. Um, Professionalism is, so diverse. And I think just being your authentic, true self. And
Mm.
that's why I wear
Mm.
what I'm comfortable in to a meeting, because I know if I'm dressed comfortably and I'm wearing things that empower and make me feel good, well, that's going to come through when I'm pitching or when I'm communicating, and then, the client learns to know that that's who I am and that's what we're about.
So, how would you define what authentic self means to you?
Ah, good question. You've got some great questions today. So I think authentic self is, um, you know, I always look at legacy, right? So I always ask this question of myself often and often of my clients. But what do you want to be remembered for when you die? Once you moved on, you're no longer here. What was it that your life's work was? And, what will people say? Yes, she did this, or he did this, or they did this. So authentic self for me is, who are you as a person? And I don't mean what made you, all those experiences that got you to where you are now, but who are you? What do you want to be remembered for? And what is your purpose of being here? So what is your, yes, I'm great at marketing. Yes, I'm awesome at email marketing as well and coaching. But my authentic self and sole purpose is to connect with others and to help others come into their own power. And then everything that I do around that has to be in line with those core values for me. So I can meet somebody, and if they don't connect with me on a really like core level, it doesn't matter how much money you offer to pay me. If I'm not about it or it doesn't tick my boxes for what I want to achieve, I'm not going to do it. And I think it's really easy, particularly when you're starting out in business or you're going through a period of growth. We just want to say yes to everything. We want to work with everybody. We need to get runs on the board. We want to progress our career. And we say yes to things that we shouldn't. And we're not really being true to ourselves. And I always found that any of those things I said yes to at a whim without checking in with myself first were always the clients that were problematic, were the ones that were taking time away from me that I could have been spending with my family. Yeah, I was just sacrificing myself for other people who weren't even really appreciating it either.
Do you believe in a life work balance?
Ha, no, not at all. I'll be honest. I love what I think it represents. I think that if you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, even if you're wanting to scale the corporate ladder, there has to be sacrifice. I don't have children, and that's my choice. And I have, three companies and businesses. They are my children. That's how I look at them, and my team are my children. But could I be a mum and have it all as well? No. I think you have to look at definitely having pockets of time which you allocate for mindfulness, mental health, well-being, rest. But yeah, this dream of work-life balance, I think it's a myth in my circumstances. But I'm very aware, particularly having a chronic illness, I do need to allocate time to rest and to sleep, and I schedule it in now. So, like I would my meetings, I block meditation, I block, going and getting a massage. If it's in a structured way and I treat it as if I would my business, then I will actually follow through on it.
Mhm.
If it's just for me to say, oh, you need to meditate, I'll always put client work before myself. So now I treat myself like a client.
It's a great share. For me, I just decided that these things, the meditation, the workout, the, the food, the sleep, that's part of my work.
Yeah.
And just treating it as my work. So,
Yeah.
so everything becomes life rather than separation between this life and that life. I think that's a lot of people experiencing the separation, and that becomes the split of that authentic self.
Yeah.
What would you say is your biggest strength as a professional?
Hmm. I think for me, I'm very adaptable. I can jump into things. I can, if the course changes, and I think this is why I was so good throughout the pandemic, is because I was just able to come up with ideas. I always think of it as, when you're making pasta, and they always say the best way to test pasta is to take a piece of spaghetti and throw it at the wall and see if it sticks.
Oh yeah.
So for me, I'm being such a creative and adaptive thinker with business principles and strategy. I just will throw things and see if they stick, see if they stick, see if they stick. And, that actually helped a lot of my clients throughout the pandemic actually still not only have a business to come back to, but were more profitable during the pandemic than they were previously because they trusted my ability to think outside of the box, to take that calculated risk with me, or go into complete uncharted territory where it was just pure risk, but it did pay off.
Hmm.
So I think that's probably my biggest strength is just
Hmm.
that ability to continually come up with ideas and then put the structure and strategy behind them to make them work.
Hmm. What would you say is your biggest weakness as a professional?
My biggest weakness. I'm very so my background culturally is I was born Australian, but I have Scottish ancestry and Greek ancestry, and I think for me it makes me incredibly passionate, but it makes me incredibly hot headed as well. So sometimes for me, I react very quickly with that fire on both sides. Whereas I've learned over the years, my first reaction necessarily isn't the reaction that anyone else needs to see. I need to have the space to get it out, but I need to sometimes just remember don't react so quickly.
Hmm. Do you remember any of your biggest aha moments? What would
Hmm.
come to mind?
Yeah, so I definitely think that the biggest one was when my doctor said to me that if I don't change the way I'm living my life with my MS and, working in this toxic work environment, and I was like, partying and drinking and, doing what young people do. And he just said to me, if you don't make some changes really quickly, you'll fast track your disease and you'll wind up in a wheelchair in the matter of years. And I
Hmm.
was like, nah, I'm literally just turned 30. I don't want this for myself. So that's where everything that I did in starting my own business, choosing the clients that I elected to work with, everything that I do for the most part is this going to make me better or worse for the trajectory of my health? Because if it's worse, I can't do it. Even if I want to do it, if it's going to put additional stress or pressure on my immune system, I can't do that. So I think that was a huge one for me. And then I think the other one would have been when I graduated from my studies. My journalism degree, I went and thought I wanted to be a reporter for a tabloid publication, and working for mainstream media, I just saw what was researched and what was written about versus what sold a headline. There was a quite a disconnect, and it was about selling stories versus telling real stories. So for me, that was okay, this is not where I need to be. I need to be where I'm actually helping people.
A lot of the people would probably see the diagnosis as like this worst thing happened to me, and it's so bad. And what I'm hearing you saying, that it was like a great teacher that showed up for your life that was actually not such a bad time?
Actually, interesting you say that. I'll be 40 this year, and everyone's like, "You're a baby," and I'm like, "Oh, well, I started working young with my parents. Like I've had and I've always give 110% to everything, and I've always had different things happening." And I actually was just saying the other day, I was like, you know what? I feel like I was diagnosed with MS, lost my vision permanently, have permanent disability. Despite all of these things, I think these have been my best 10 years. Like, this
Mm.
decade's been awesome. It's made me realize my potential, that I still have so much more to do. I started not one but three businesses, two of those during the pandemic. Um, I'm excited for what the next 10 will bring me, because I feel so much more comfortable where I am now as a person, but also I'm super clear on what I want to do, and how I can help other people, achieve what they want to do as well. So
Well,
yeah, it was a blessing.
that really sounds like it supported you to unfold your greater self in a big way.
Yeah, a huge transformation. And it's interesting. Like, I'm very reflective. Like, I will, um, every day, what am I grateful for? What were my learnings today? How can I improve tomorrow as a person, and inspire and motivate those around me? And yeah, every single day, I'm just like, I'll connect with people, I'll have interactions with them, and I go, wow, that was an awesome learning for me. Or, oh, I'm so grateful to have met this person. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what more I can do, and what my legacy will be, which is awesome.
What was your worst entrepreneur moment?
Yeah, it was definitely when the pandemic hit. So I remember March 2020 was the first time we went into lockdown, like a hard lockdown, and I knew it was coming, but I so it was kind of, we'll circle back a little bit. So December 2019, I had a friend take their own life, who was a great mentor and friend and business coach of mine. We then had the bushfires, which I'm sure everyone saw. Our entire country was on fire. And then we had the pandemic kick in. And then it was that very first time of us going into a lockdown and really starting to hear. And so what happened was, it wasn't that one thing that had happened, but finally I was forced to stop. And the minute that I was forced to stop, my brain just said, "Hey, here, deal with grief, deal with everything." And I had this huge rush of cortisol, and boom, I had a relapse. But then, what I actually, and I spoke to mental health and therapists and everything, because I knew I was having a nervous breakdown and I needed help. And I just remember in that moment when I was talking to my doctor, who's amazing, she just said to me, well, we ascertained that I was using busy, so continually filling every minute of my day, working to exhaustion and burnout, as a coping mechanism to not deal with my feelings. But that's not sustainable, right? So, in that breakdown, I then got the therapy. I went through grief counseling. I went through, learning to look after myself more, implementing self care practices and simple things like, did you drink enough water? Have you eaten today? Things that we forget when we're busy. And yeah, I actually don't look at, and again, that was a huge learning for me. And we don't call that a breakdown anymore. We call it a breakthrough. And for me, it was a huge breakthrough, because, yeah,
Mm.
it made me deal with things I'd been putting off for years.
Wow. Wow. Chrissy, what what has been a lesson or advice that stuck with you?
Hmm. I think it was from one of my first bosses. So I, like I said, grew up in a really small, like country town. There wasn't much opportunity there, and so when I had, I'd been working and living, but like either you stay and get married, you work on your parents' farm, or you leave. And so I used to write just freelance for a magazine and some nightclubs. And I got a phone call from a boss of mine who invited me to come and work there, like in the office. And in 2 days, I moved down and I started this new life. And then that encouraged me to go and study at university. And this was when, the internet was kind of starting to become more popular, and there were like first online trolls. Like this was the beginning of it. And I remember just seeing people write things about our company and my work and what we were doing. And my boss just said to me, if you're going to make it in any industry, you really need to develop a thicker skin. And, coming as this naive, fresh faced country girl, I just took everything to heart, or I wanted everybody to like me. But yeah, I think that advice has stuck with me is, you know what, have that thicker skin. Yes, still care, because I think we still need to care to a degree. Otherwise, why are we doing what we're doing? But it was that one to just kind of, okay, whatever, brush it off a little bit more. Take the feedback from those people that you value their opinion on, versus those people who don't know you.
Hmm. Okay, one couple more. You're
Hit
like
me.
so amazing. I love asking you all these questions.
I'm good to go.
What is one thing that has you fired up right now?
Okay, so there's a few. I'm like, pick one. Um,
Mm.
so at the moment, and I'm sure in Australia specifically, and I dare say across the world. So I do a lot with the hospitality sector, restaurants, bars, hotels. I had spent my time in the US. I did a degree in international hotel management. So I'm really passionate about the customer service and hospitality experience. Oh, the sun's just come out. Sorry, it's got a bit bright there. So at the moment, there's a huge industry shortage of staff or skilled staff, um, and just people are really not understanding. Like there are so many businesses that have had to reduce their trading hours, or close because there might be close contacts for COVID, and so the customer experience is still incredibly high, um, and they're not really understanding that people reskilled or left the industry, that young staff coming through have to learn on the job, so they need to be a bit more empathetic to that. And I'm just seeing, because we manage our clients, TripAdvisor, Google reviews, and just seeing how entitled people are, and not actually being understanding of what's actually going on and how hard it is been for these businesses. Like, they've had to close for extended periods of time. If somebody is a close contact, they can't then open. So it's just, yeah, it's been very frustrating, um, to see, what negative feedback this industry is receiving, but
Mhm.
we don't have the ability to. Australia really relies on a lot of international students to bridge that gap in our workforce, or skilled migrants coming from other countries. We just don't have enough staff here. So I think it's really been about educating customers, letting people know that the industry has changed, to be kind to people, and yeah, just for everyone to just be understanding and patient. So I think that's the biggest thing that's had me fired up at the moment, is just everybody understanding what the other person is going through.
Mm. Chrissy mentioned that your name changed today
Mhm.
and you are no longer called Chrissy and you have to choose a new name out of these four.
Okay,
So I'll
hit
give
me.
you the name:
Okay.
success, trust, courage, or passion? Which
Okay.
I'm gonna take passion out because I think passion is already your name.
I know. I was like, well, that's easy.
Which of these names would you choose, and what would change in your life as a result?
Um, I think courage. I think that quite often they'll like I seem to have like a very confident bravado, but even still, there are times where to put myself out there more is a little bit scary. I'm totally fine to work on everyone else's projects. I give all the time, effort, and energy to my clients, whereas I know I have so much more that I can share and do of my own journey and story. But I think I'm still just a little bit hesitant to put myself out there a little bit more. So I feel courage is probably the word. It's probably going to be my word of the year now, actually. Thank you, SoFeya. Um, that it is okay. And by me being courageous and being brave, that I'm really going to connect on an even, deeper, more genuine level with people. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I love that. I'm going to pop that on my whiteboard today.
Super. So gonna be Courage Symeonakis.
Be easier to spell.
So my question is to audience now. Imagine that your name changed today and you have to choose a new name out of these four: success, trust, courage, or passion. Which of these names would you choose and what would change in your life as a result? Write your chosen word in the comments or send me a private message to receive a gift from me. And Chrissy, thank you so, so much
Thank
for
you.
a great interview. Your energy, your authenticity, your openness, and I've learned so much from you. And it was just so great to have you on the show. And I know that the audience i- is enjoying this as well. Can
Thank
you tell
you.
us where people can find you? And I know there is a gift that you have.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And I think this has been my favorite interview that I've done. You've given me a few questions there that I had to, really deep thinking one. So I
Hmm.
appreciate that. So you can find me at chrissysymeonakis.com.
On
If
screen.
Yep. Or you can just go to creative little soul, SOUL.com.au, and I'm everywhere on socials. And my gift to you is I would love anybody who's connected, who wants to know a little bit more about marketing, coaching, or branding. You can book a free call with me, and you can just do that on my website. And maybe you have nothing more to say than, hey, you're from Australia. Tell me about it. I want to visit, or hey, I've got a problem to solve. So yeah, I'm happy just to connect and talk to people, because I find, not only do we meet and connect for a reason, but it's always nice to hear other accents or learn about what other people are doing and to make some new professional friends.
Yay. Professionals, thank you so much for tuning in to our show, the Professionals on Air podcast, a podcast where we discuss how to walk, talk, live, and grow authentically as a professional in the 21st century. To learn more about Chrissy, visit her website. You see it on the screen right now, and we're also going to give you a link in the comments. And to receive a gift from me, type one of the four words: success, trust, passion, or courage in the comments or DM me. And we appreciate your comments and feedback. Ciao.
Bye. Thank you.